Welcome back to the Hoop Scoop Media Conference previews. Today we are previewing the ASUN, but first, before we get into anything in the podcast, some very, very sad news in the college basketball coaching community with the passing of South Florida head coach Amir Abdur-Rahim. Just a really, really sad day for college basketball. He was one of the biggest rising coaches, having turned Kansas State, who was an ASUN program, into from 1 win to 26 wins over like 4 years that he was there. This past season at South Florida, he defied anyone's expectations of that team, going 16-2 in conference play, winning 25 total games. So just clearly, he was clearly on path to become one of the biggest stars in college basketball. Only 43 years old. It's just a reminder that life is just so fragile. He was a great coach by all accounts. He was a even better person. Seemed like someone who truly did everything the right way. Um, in an era where there's just so many people not doing things that way. He was really, really a big loss for
Yeah,
all of
like
college basketball.
his roots, as a college basketball coach, pre-NIL, he bought in, his recruits, in 2018, 19, Chris Youngblood, Burden, a bunch of other guys, that Robinson, big man with the goggles. Um, they stuck around. They didn't transfer out. They easily could have. I mean, they'd one win the one year. I think they'd six the next year. And then after that, they started to, I think they won double digits after that. But then the year after was when they really broke through. And again, in the NIL era, in the transfer portal era, the easy way out could have easily been used, but he really built it from the ground up. And that's something that you just have to admire in today's college basketball.
Yes, it's truly a huge loss for the game. But yeah, now on another note, getting in today's some preview, which yeah, as you mentioned, is his former conference. So yeah, just truly just a sad day for college basketball. But getting into some stuff about DA Sun, which yeah, Kansas State actually left this season, so no longer in the conference. But when they made the tournament, that's
He's probably to thank him for that too. Once they
yeah.
made the tournament, that kind of really ignited those
Yeah, that the
talks.
athletic program of Kansas State has a lot to thank for him. Really, really turned that program around. But yeah, they're off to Conference USA, and West Georgia is a replacement coming in from the Division II level. Um, so yeah, but looking at the conference as a whole, last season in Ken Palm, it was ranked. Let me pull this up. It was ranked as the 26th best conference. So not a great conference, but definitely offensively it was fun.
Oh yeah, like honestly, it was one of the best conference tournaments last year, easily. Like every game was just complete up and down, 85 to 90, 95 to 90, that overtime, Northern Alabama, Austin P
Yes.
game, and then the
Jacksonville was
championship.
going on a run. Robert
Right.
Cray
I
was going
mean,
crazy, but yeah.
it,
Minimal defense is played in the league. The league
yeah.
actually has had the highest efficiency rating within conference play, highest 3-point percentage. So yeah, it's
The
it's
guards
it's
in this
fun.
conference are really good. I will say that. Like Jalen Blackman went to Miami. I mean,
Yes.
there's a bunch of guys that could definitely play Power Five basketball in this conference. It just doesn't help that there's not a lot of defense to really see what they're made of all the time. So
Yes, but just touching into where some of the all conference guys from last year went. On the first team, Isaiah Kozar for Eastern Kentucky exhausted his eligibility. Leland Walker, also from the Colonels, transferred to Florida Atlantic. Jakari Lane is back at North Alabama. Chaz Lanier, North Florida breakout superstar, transferred to Tennessee. And Jalen Blackman, as you just mentioned, transferred to Miami. From his second team, Terrell Burden exhausts his eligibility from Kennesaw State. Darren Boyd from Lipscomb transferred to Charleston. Will Pruitt from Lipscomb returns to the Bisons. AJ McKee for Queens transferred to Milwaukee. Excellent pickup for Milwaukee
Yeah.
there. And Stephon Swenson for Stetson transferred to UC Santa Barbara. Moving on to the third team, DeMarcus Sharp, Austin P. Guard exhausted his eligibility. Devontae Blanton returns to Eastern Kentucky. Zach Anderson from Florida Gulf Coast transferred to George Mason. Robert McCray the fifth is back at Jacksonville, and Dayton Albury from Queens transferred to Utah State. So yeah, coaching changes. Do we have any coaching changes in the
Well,
league?
you want to just
Um,
say the West Georgia coach, I guess. He's been there a while, though.
yes, he has been no coaching change there, but Dave Moore is a coach, spectacular coach in D2 so far.
Hmm.
25 27 and 6 last year. But we do have one real coaching change, and that is at Central Arkansas, where they brought in John Schulman, the uncle of Jeremy Schulman, I believe, as we talked about in the OVC preview recently. But yeah, John coming from Alabama Huntsville, a D2 program where he was okay. It wasn't my favorite hire of the cycle, but a new change of scenery was absolutely needed
I don't
for
mind it.
Central Arkansas.
Central Arkansas doesn't have a ton of resources, and there's some, like he brought in a really good recruit this year. We'll
Mm-hmm.
get into him.
FFU,
So
yes.
like, that's more than Central Arkansas is used to.
Yes. But yeah, moving to our personal all conference teams and awards. My player of the year was Robert McCray the fifth from Jacksonville. He was going crazy in the conference tournament. I think a guy definitely has some pro intrigue, pro upside. Played at Wake Forest. Didn't really pan out there, but is really showing his talent down a level at Jacksonville.
Mm,
So
yeah,
decided to come back to school instead of hitting the portal. So he
I
is my player
respect
of the
it.
year.
Yeah, same here. Three-level scorer, from all ranges. He's extremely dynamic. Maybe if Ognisevich was healthy last year, I would have maybe given him the nod, but then again, I have to see him healthy.
Yes.
But yeah, no, Rob McCray, I think will lead a Jacksonville team that can build off of last year a little bit. So
Yes. My freshman of the year, Central Arkansas guy, as you mentioned, is Ty Robinson. I believe he was a Florida Atlantic commit. I know him and Lane Taylor, two-star freshmen, were both decommits from other places. I think Taylor was a North Texas commit. There's a slight
mm,
chance I may have mixed it up, but I'm pretty sure Robinson was the one committed to FAU. So yeah, very highly regarded guy for what Central Arkansas usually gets. So I have him as my freshman of the year.
okay, yeah, I have Lane Taylor, so we
Yes.
both know Central Arkansas guys.
Yes. But both very good gets. I'm um both are pretty familiar with each other as I believe they're both from Arkansas and both had pretty good high school careers there. My depoy, defensive player of the year, I went with Keyshawn Kellman for Florida Gulf Coast. Pretty big physical guy and yeah.
Yeah, it's tough in this conference. There's nobody who plays defense. Um,
Yeah.
I'll go Devontae Blanton, I guess, from EKU. A team that actually did play defense last couple of years. Cozart was a big reason for that, but they do hold their own on the perimeter too.
Hmm.
So I'll pick him.
Yes, compared to the rest of the conference at least. So yeah. Not where you go to find all your star defensive players, but yeah. Moving to the our all conference teams. We're just gonna run through these and touch on more of the players when we get to our
I like that.
team previews. So first team members, I had Robert McCray. Let's see, he's the fifth, right, or the fourth? Is he
The
the fourth?
fifth. I know your
Yes,
Roman numerals, dude.
yes. Okay, I knew it was for some reason in my notes I had the four, so I was like, wait,
You had IV. Come on.
yes. Well, Robert McCray, the fifth. But yeah, I had him. I will Pruitt for Lipscomb. I have Devontae Blanton, the guy you just mentioned from Eastern Kentucky. I have Cy Witt for Austin P. And I have my defensive player of the year, Keyshawn Kellman from Florida Gulf Coast.
Okay. Yeah, no, I actually scrolled through Florida Gulf Coast on my list, so I threw guys on there last second. But I have Ognjenovic, Pruitt, Saiwit, and LJ Thomas
Okay. And then McRae, obviously,
and McCray.
as well. And yeah, I had a few of those guys on my second team you just mentioned. I have LJ Thomas on my second team from Austin P, transferring from NC State. I have two North Alabama guys in Jakari Lane and Daniel Ortiz. Ortiz returning to North Alabama after playing at UAB last year, but playing for North Alabama prior to that. I have Ben Johnson from Bellarmine and Jacob Ognisevich from Lipscomb. Missed
Yep.
all of last season, but was a stud 2 years ago.
Yep. So my second team, I have Makai Ellison from Stetson. Really good shot creating lefty. I believe from the T2 ranks, something like that. Dude,
Um,
I believe
let's
he's
see.
pretty
I
small. I watched
think
this film on the train.
JUCO.
I was pretty impressed with this film. Definitely should be a featured guard there after Blackman left. They also have another good D2 guy as well. Um, I have Alex Vargo of North Florida, former Youngstown, rotational player early on in his career, then went down the JUCO. Didn't play at a great league, but you can see the skills he has at 6'6", can really
Mm-hmm.
shoot the ball, really score from all three levels.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of talent that Chaz Lanier was, except maybe not around the rim as much, but
Yeah.
they're going to need somebody to step up in that role. And I think he's the guy who's most equipped. And North Florida has a great offensive system. So I believe their head coach is from the Scott Drew tree, I
Is
believe.
he? I'll fact
I
check that
remember
while
hearing
you
about that, but
go.
made sense. So I have Daniel Ortiz, Devontae
Mhm.
Blanton, and Keyshawn Kellman.
All right. Yes, it does appear that Driscoll, who's your coach, Matt Driscoll, did. Yeah, he was at Baylor. I just didn't know if that was true because I feel like he's pretty old, but
He is
I
up
guess
there in
he's
age.
59. It's not crazy, but yeah, he's a fun guy. But on my third team, I had Isaac Haney, another Austin P guy. I have Ajon Anderson from Queens, JUCO player in there. Kyrick Davis from West Georgia. West Georgia representative here. I believe he is coming from the JUCO level as well from South Georgia State. I have Myra Wool from Eastern Kentucky, kind of taking a swing on a resurgence, little breakout year for Wool, and Dalian Johnson from Florida Gulf Coast.
All right, so I got Isaac Haney, Jakari Lane, Ben Johnson, Caleb Parr is another guy's film I watched. I was really impressed with his film. I think on Queens, he's probably going to be up there as one of their number one guys. And then Cotto is pretty underrated for Central Arkansas, so he's a pretty good forward for them. I put him on my third team.
Yes, definitely someone to watch out for there. Yeah, but moving to my all freshman team, the two Central Arkansas guys, as mentioned, Lane Taylor and Ty Robinson. I also have Kent Jackson from Jacksonville. I have BB Washington from Florida Gulf Coast, and Sawyer Mayhew from Queens. UMass redshirt freshman is
Hmm.
Mayhew.
So I have Taylor Robinson, I have Tristan Guillet from Florida
Hmm.
Gulf Coast. Big man. They don't really have a
Yes.
lot of front court presences, so counting on him to get some rotational minutes. I have Sam Manyard from West Georgia, and I have Brady Hardaway from West Georgia as well. Two guys that I don't think West Georgia has a whole lot this year, but we shall see. They have a great coach, and I think some freshmen will get some opportunities.
Yes, moving to our breakout players. One guy I have is Ramir Barno from Florida Gulf Coast, freshman last year, pretty highly regarded as an A-Sun recruit. Florida Gulf Coast usually able to recruit pretty solidly for the level of the conference. But yeah, Barno wasn't spectacular by any means last year. Definitely showed some flashes, inefficient at times offensively, but I think he's a guy that can definitely benefit from year two. He's kind of has the whole backcourt in his control after guys like Isaiah Thompson left. So um Yes, point guard position should be his this year.
All right, so my first breakout guy, Bryce Cash of Queens. Yeah, sophomore there. Queens is a team that loves to push the tempo, loves to score. I think he will get his opportunities as well. Had a pretty solid freshman season last year. And maybe not the most efficient, but he got shots up, and I think he'll get even more shots up with McKee and others leaving. So
Yes, another sophomore I had is Javian Guy King from Central Arkansas. Put up some decent numbers for a freshman in the league, even at on a pretty poor UCA team. Put up about 7-3 and 2 a night. So 6'6" wing. Definitely think he could see a little bit of an increased role as a sophomore with some pretty young team around him.
yeah, my second guy, and I think I've put him on a breakout team before. Michael Duax, Florida Gulf Coast. I don't think Florida Gulf Coast is really that great, so I do think he's going to get
They
minutes.
they have some intriguing talent, but they always do.
They
So
always do, don't they? I think Duax, like he's efficient, he just doesn't shoot enough. Like that's what I'm finding at least. Northern Iowa had
yeah,
a
I,
lot of
I
guys
believe he
shooting.
took a step back last year a little bit. Kind of Northern Iowa had a few too many guys for what they needed. So
Exactly. I think Florida Gulf Coast needs perimeter scoring, so he can give them that.
yes, for sure. Another guy I had is Donovan Rivers from Jacksonville. Another freshman who um played a solid amount last year. Didn't do a ton, but definitely someone that I think can take a little bit of an impact jump and impact this year with the yeah, he'll get more minutes. Obviously getting older helps. I think he's also a pretty solid defender, rebounder, so see if he can maybe add a little bit more offense to his game.
My next one, I have Jordan Crawford, Eastern Kentucky. Good transfer from Charleston, redshirt sophomore. I really think he can have an uptick in volume this year. Besides Blanton, you have George Kimball, and that's really it for the guard room. So he's definitely going to have a pretty nice volume, I think.
Yes. Another guy I have is actually a guy did not play last year as Anton Brookshire from Austin P. I think he's a guy that is a little bit heavily underrated because he
Definitely.
was a guy who didn't play a ton, but played some solid minutes in the top 100 Iona team, was a pretty good shooter there. Also started his career Mizzou. Yes. For watchers on YouTube, you just saw Kyle with his Mizzou jersey. So yeah, former high major guy. I think already had the year in the system. I think he could really surprise some people with and is one of part of one of the really underrated backcourts in mid-major basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had him on an all-conference team if Austin Peay's guard room wasn't so loaded. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's very
ridiculous.
underratedly loaded.
And it's deep. They have these other two JUCO guys on the bench too that look
It's
really
good.
good.
It's
Like
good.
if somebody, isn't playing well, I mean, they're going to be in the doghouse.
Yes.
So that's the thing. I hope Brookshire gets a crack at it, and I think he will. But yeah, he's on my breakout list too. I think he's my last member.
Yes.
I
So
think
my
DJ
luck.
Statius is another guy I definitely want to mention.
Yes,
San
yes.
Jose
I
State
agree with that.
transfer. I liked Statius there. I think he's a pretty
He was a
quality.
guy I was pretty hyped on coming into last year. Didn't
He
perform as
was
much,
okay.
but
But you could see flashes with him. I think he's
mm,
at a better level now.
yes.
Yeah.
My last guy though is Tristan Gross from Stetson. Another guy that saw pretty impactful minutes as a freshman, but didn't score a whole lot. But obviously, Stetson had some guys that did score a whole lot, like Jalen Blackman, Stephon Swenson. No longer in the program, so yes, I think Gross could take a sophomore jump with more minutes and more usage. Pretty solid shooter
He's
when he
another guy
played
that
last
definitely
year.
stood out to me as far as breakouts.
Yes. So is that all your breakout
Yeah.
players then?
Hmm.
All right, so moving to our top 10 transfers, moving right along. Number one, I have a return transfer to the league. That is Daniel Ortiz coming back to North Alabama from UAB. Good shooter, good shot creator.
Number one, I got LJ Thomas, NC State transfer. coming in, and then he went to JUCO, I believe, last
Nope,
year.
it just came right from NC State.
Oh, did he? Okay, fresh right
Yes,
from NC State and right to Austin P.
correct. I had that's who I had number two. I think he could really guy that's gonna pop moving down a level.
He is. And I have Daniel Ortiz at two.
Okay, number three, I have Quan Lax from Austin P. I think he's a really underrated guy. Only averaged like about 13 NAI level, which doesn't stick out at
His
first
film's really
glance,
good. I
but
watched it today.
he
His
also,
film.
yes, very that definitely sticks out in film. But he was on the team that won the NAI championship, and he was the best player on that team. NAI All-American, a lot to
His
like once you
defense is good.
really.
He's a good defender. So that's actually going to help a team that doesn't typically play a ton of defense. So I hope he gets minutes.
Yes. Oh, he will
Um,
be the starter.
okay, okay. I could see that. I could see that.
He will be the starting point guard. So I had
Okay.
him at three.
Yeah, but three, I have Jordan Crawford of Eastern Kentucky.
Okay. Four, I have Simon Wheeler from Jacksonville coming for another guy from D2 can really pass it. I think he's like big on social media for some reason. Not really sure the background of that, but
Yes.
yeah, he's pretty fun.
Okay.
Yeah, good passer. So should fit good next to Craig, guy that operates a little bit more with scoring the ball.
At four, I think this is one of the most underrated pickups in the conference is Kellen Boylan, Lipscomb. I think this is a terrific fit next to Lipscomb's dynamic shot creators. Boylan is a sniper. He can really shoot it. Again, that Air Force team actually had a lot of shooters last year. He was one of
Hmm.
them. Again, this is a Lipscomb team. I think I felt the best about in some time. So yeah.
Yeah, side him at six. Also a pretty good defender coming from a
Yeah.
not great Air Force defensive team.
Yeah, they're
So
just undersized. Yeah.
yes, I had him at six. It looks like he. Let's see. I saw he was like hurt, but looks like he will still play this year. I'll see if this
Mm.
article is. I'll see what this article says because I saw that. Yeah. So might be a little slow start going into the season, but he is not
Someone
taking his.
else that we need to mention is Andrew Taylor. Apparently, he's like on a roster.
He was trying to get into Stetson, but might have had his like waiver denied because he's no longer there.
Okay. I knew he wasn't on a sheet, so I didn't include him. But
Yes, he was
you
at
know,
Stetson, but I must have not had his waiver pass, so he will not be playing this year seemingly.
damn.
But yeah, number five is where I had Mayor Eastern Kentucky, good recruit at Charleston, didn't really pan out there as a freshman, but I think he's in for a big jump,
Okay. Five is where I have Quant Lax.
and that's right. Six where I had Boylan.
Six is where I Blaze Sagna. Stetson, D2 guy, transferred in. Average 20 a game, 6'3" guard. Again, a lot of guard turnover there. Tristan Gross, my second team member, Makai Ellison, and then him will probably be a lot of the backcourt. So,
Yes. Number seven, um I have Leo Colomario from Queens, I believe he is at. Yeah, but transferring from Fresno State, averaged a solid 7 points there. He was solid in the Mountain West, and I think he'll be
mm.
a little bit better in this conference, even though not a great team. But
Seven's where I had Duax.
Nia Duax at eight.
And eight is where I have DJ Satius, Central Arkansas.
Yes, no, is he at Central Arkansas? Yes,
Yeah.
he is. I don't know why I was questioning that, but yeah, number nine, I have Josh Massey for Stetson, another D2 guy in the um coming in Stetson, a little more successful in terms of team success last year at D2 than Sagna, but both are definitely players to monitor.
hmm Nine is where I have Jordan Wood of Stetson. Tulane transfer really is actually like
Was
more of a stretch five.
was really good at Howard. Tulane didn't really find his
Yeah.
groove, but this is probably a better level for him. And 10, I had George Kimball the second for Eastern Kentucky, another D2 guy. Really played some good basketball, only as a freshman last year. So a lot of upside there. Pretty young transfer class coming in for the Colonels. So
Yep,
yes,
that's where I have Kimball the third as well.
yes. So lining up at 10. So moving into our conference rankings, going from worst to first based off last year. But since they are a new addition to conference, we are starting first off with the oh geez, what is West Georgia's
I don't know.
nickname?
The
Um
West Georgia Hurricanes. There you go.
the
All right.
Wolves of West Georgia.
I like it.
Um I rock with the Wolves. But
West Georgia Wolves.
I guess I don't have a ton of thoughts about this team. I will say where I have them in the conference. So I do have them at 10th and not quite last in their first year, but
I got them last. I don't really see a lot of talent here. I mean there's some. Um,
I
but then
just
again, I don't think I'd put them over Bellarmine, even though they're bad too.
yeah, but yes, I do see where you're coming from. But they were very good last year. Now, granted,
Or
they do lose two really good players. One of them, Zadi Jackson, we are big fans of heading to New Mexico
that's right.
State. The other
That's
one,
right.
Cam Donatlan, who was a D2 All-Region selection. But I kind of just trust the system a little bit to continue on, even though, yeah, they do lose two star players, but they do have some JUCO talent coming in.
They do.
Um, and Demetrius Johnson, Kyrick Davis should both be stars in this team. Also, Shelton Williams Dryden was a D2 JUCO All-American from Milwaukee area Tech. Obviously, I mentioned Davis a little bit earlier being on my all conference teams as he has the average 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists at South Georgia State this year. Um,
I might watch some film on those guys. Curious to see how, the kind of talent they have coming in. But
Yeah, definitely somewhat of an unknown, especially with the fact that all their guys are like JUCO freshmen, and we've never seen this team play in D1. They do also have a one returning starter, Colton Griffin, averaged about 8 and 7 last year. Few transfers brought in Ricky Ballard and Taurus Watson. Ballard solid rotational player at D2 level, and Watson is a Wofford transfer who did not play this past season. Has battled with
hey,
injuries, but
Torrance Watson is former.
Taurus.
Oh, Torrance
But
Watson. I'm about to
yes,
say Missouri Tiger.
no, not that guy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he is a good athlete, so maybe someone to monitor. But yeah, a ton of freshmen in this team, a few redshirt freshmen. I guess we'll see what we get from them, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Any more thoughts?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah. Next up then is a team that actually got last place last year. That is Bellarmine, and I have them sitting at last again this year. I have them at 12th. A big fan of Davenport and the system, but it didn't work last year, and I'm not concerned with the pieces they have on their roster. They will be any better this year.
Yeah, I got second to last. Don't really see anything outside of Ben Johnson that has me excited. Oh,
Yes. Yeah,
pretty rough.
not necessarily a team that, yes, brings me some too much excitement. A few other returning players. Kurt Hop is back. He was injured all of last year. Solid guy to have back, but
Good forward, but Dylan
nothing
Branson's not
crazy.
moving anything.
Nah,
Like,
he didn't do much on a bad SEMO team.
uh,
Jack Karasinski didn't do a whole lot on a bad William and Mary team. Des McKinney coming back. Um, I mean that's whatever. Billy Smith. Um, yeah. Miles Watkins, a JUCO guy coming in from
Pasadena.
Pasadena City. So I guess we'll see if there's any intrigue
Michael
with him.
Bova's a junior red shirt too. Maybe he's
Yes.
something. I don't know.
Yes. Not super familiar with him. So
No, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I
Next
just
team.
yeah. The non-dribble offense is fun. I think well, it's
You need
somewhat fun.
some
It's
talent to run
but
it.
yeah, I really do like Scott Davenport, but
He's
this
a good
roster
player.
just doesn't inspire me at all. They
It's
they
kind of like Joe
definitely
Scott in the Mountain West. Like they just have these cool offenses. They just don't have a lot of recruiting resources available to them. So it's like
yes.
they're good coaches. They're just in really tough situations.
Yes, I mean they were bad last year and they lost some guys up transfers like Langdon Hatton going to Indiana, like and Bash Wheeling going to Chattanooga, and yeah, I do not really see division with this team. But again, got to give my props to Davenport. This is not really
Mm,
an offense to him necessarily.
never.
He's pretty old. He's nearing his time. So,
Definitely.
but yeah, still love him as a coach. Next up though is going to be Central Arkansas, and I have them in the same position they were last year. I have them 11th. I think
I got
this
them
young
10th.
talent.
Yeah.
So did you wait? Where'd you have Bellarmine?
I have Bellarmine 11th,
Okay,
second to last.
so same bottom three, slightly different order, but yes, I'm definitely into Central Arkansas's young talent, but I don't know that I'm into the immediate success of them. Um,
Hato and
definitely,
Statius are probably your two best guys. Then
yeah.
again, they also have, I think, a decent guard as well.
Yeah, they brought in Braden Fagbemi from Johns Hopkins D3 school. Had a pretty successful freshman season. I believe it's a pretty good program there, but not
mhm.
overly efficient from the field. So I guess we'll see how
Big
he
lacrosse
transitions up.
school. Yeah.
Um, yeah, Ubangabasi Itim, physical big man, but. Yeah. Obviously Guy King has a little bit of breakout potential as a sophomore. Cato is a solid returner. They got some good freshmen and Robinson and Taylor. They have a bunch of other freshmen I'm not as familiar with, but overall, still not overly enthused about the potential this year. But most of these guys they'll have back for like 2 or 3 more
Sure.
years. So
Even Fago Bemi, he's only a sophomore.
yes, 3 more years with him. So at least you can definitely hold some hope for the future of this roster.
Hmm.
Um, moving on, next team, Jacksonville, finished 5-11 in conference play, but did win 2 games in the conference tournament, including knocking off Eastern Kentucky, who I believe was number one seed last year, um, to get to the next round where they lost to Stetson in a 1 point game, which was a absolute
Brutal.
classic to watch. But yeah, I have the Dolphins at fifth this year. I think they're gonna build a little bit off that
I
momentum,
agree. I
and
got them at third. I am really thinking they can build. I like some of their pickups and the returners too. It's not just McCray. They have a guard next to him as well. I'm pulling him up.
Nyblack, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's who you're.
He's good. Really efficient scorer. He's also a grad, 41% from three. Jakari Spence is solid. Like he's gonna play his role. He's gonna defend. Um,
Yes,
then outside of that, they have Wheeler. I actually like Kendall Munson. Pretty decent Kendall Munson fan at Portland State.
I kind of like Simi Wokeji from Dayton. He's an athlete.
Oh yeah, I'm about to
I
say. I
mean, like
mean,
he didn't do much at Dayton. I think he might have left the team early this year, but he is definitely a good athlete. And
Dayton
I
likes
think
to
this,
recruit a lot of those athletic bigs to play defense.
yeah,
So
he's
like,
more of a forward than a big, but
mhm.
yeah. think yeah, I think there's definitely some intrigue there. Obviously the loss of Bryce Workman is gonna hurt.
Yeah,
He was a workman. That name checks out pretty well.
he was
He was getting physical.
the work.
Huge for them in the conference tournament, but yeah, a lot of their guys were young too. McCray
They got
only
him.
technically a sophomore,
They got
but
Stephen Payne the third
yep,
is six
Stefan
nine.
Payne.
Rivers is
Yes,
6'9". So they'll have
yes.
bodies.
Both those
Munson's
guys
big
were
too.
underclassmen last year. Zach Bell was only a sophomore last year.
Yep.
Um, a few freshmen being brought in as well. So yeah, I think this program is headed in a
Yeah,
pretty
Jacksonville is one of
positive
those
direction.
uniquely paced teams. Like they have good guards, but they're actually going to want to play slow. They like to play a lot of defense. They're physical on the glass. They like to slow teams down, and their pace definitely gives some teams in this conference trouble. Has in the past, and should lead, especially with McCray and Niblock, it should lead to a lot of wins, I think.
Yes. Obviously we mentioned this is not a good defensive conference, but I actually do not hate this team's defense considering
Oh yeah.
where the rest of the conference is. Obviously McCray got a high major body there, but down low with Stephon Payne and Donovan Rivers, I think it's a pretty solid defensive duo with the
And Zemi, yeah, like you
yes,
said.
should be a long athletic forward.
Hmm.
Okg is. And yeah, so I think they're definitely on the up and up. Maybe I'm overreacting based on a few really good games in the conference tournament, but I truly do think they're gonna make a big increase. I kind of like Jordan Mincy. So
He's
yeah,
done a good job there.
yes. Next up though in the conference is going to be um if I can get to that page, where am I? I think I lost it. There we go. It's going to be Queens. They were 7-9 in conference play last year. Um, really fast style of play. They
Yeah,
were 10th in the nation in tempo last year, and I have them 8th this year
same
as
here.
well. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, losing two star guards is not ideal with the losses of McKee to Milwaukee and
And they lost
Albury
McLaurin, right?
to Utah State. Yes, BJ McLaurin, yes, he exhausted
He's
his
good.
eligibility,
He's good.
but I mean, I still do like some of the guys they have. I think you do see them buying into JUCO ranks a little bit. As John Anderson, a guy I like, averaged over 20 points per game, about 5 assists per game at Ranger College. And Caleb Parr, I know you looked into him a little bit more,
He's
so
good.
tell us what you
He's
saw
a
from
bit
him.
lanky, like he's 6'3", but he's very under control. He plays at a pretty slower pace. Like, he's not out of control. I think that'll actually help Queens a lot. 'Cause, they do take some bad shots with their style. But the thing about their style, which is good, is they should have no problem rinsing and replacing these guard rooms every year. Like at the JUCO level, you can find good shot creators, even at the D2 level. So I think, there's just a new batch of guards that are in, and yeah.
Yes. And yeah, as I mentioned, got Leo Colomario from Fresno State. Solid starter for what it was worth at Fresno. And
Their
also
thing is they're always really small. They don't compete on the glass.
they have Malcolm Wilson. He's
Oh,
not good, but he's big. He's
yeah,
actually
does he
like
have a
kind
big
of
this year? Wow.
you remember Malcolm Wilson? He was that big that Georgetown had that like was converted into a manager. He
No
was like went
way.
from a player to a manager. You do not remember him?
No, I don't. I really
He was
should.
like well, let me look up. He actually like play a little bit on
Usually manager to a player is the thing, but player to a manager?
yeah. He started 10 games on the team that didn't win any conference games. He was like he's like a negative offensively, but can kind of protect the rim, can probably like foul out if you need him to.
Oh, here he
Can,
is.
can,
Yeah.
can't really score, but he's I yeah, I mean he's not good, but he's big.
Yeah, I see him, and they do have Sawyer Mayhew as well.
Yeah, definitely unproven bigs. Not
Yeah.
exactly the most exciting
It's
guys,
more
but
size than they usually have. They usually run like 6'7" centers. Like McLaurin was usually like their five, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. And I mean he would yeah, he definitely not the traditional five. Wilson's
They
more of
play
that.
small ball and they like to run. So you know what?
But yeah, Chris Ashby and Bryce Cash, few solid returners. I believe Ashby can really shoot the ball if
He
I'm
can. He
remembering
is
right.
good.
And then Ashby's another solid returner, scored some solid amount of points. Ashby was the one who made 82 threes in the season, and Cash a little bit less of a shooter, but only was a freshman last year. Played pretty good, started the whole year, so definitely some upside with those guys, but still have the Queens 8th in the conference. But next team up is going to be North Alabama. 8-8 last year in conference play, 15-17 overall, but I have them third this year.
Okay. Um, I went seventh. Yeah,
Really?
I'm not real. I've hyped them up in years past, and they just I don't know. They don't have good forwards usually. They're another small team, and they do get beat on the glass pretty badly. They always have good guards though, and they do lose KJ Johnson.
Yeah,
Um,
but they bring in Daniel Ortiz back.
that's true. That's true. Um, I've seen these, bring back the old gang teams though, and they don't
Ortiz was
always.
good though.
He
Ortiz
was.
was really
He's on
good
my. He's on
there.
my second. It's not that I hate him. It's just maybe the team will fall off a little bit. I don't know. Because outside of those two, you know,
Yeah, we'll see.
but they
They
are good.
did they are bringing in Cornelius Williams, a big man. Played a little bit at Western Carolina last year. That definitely
I
does give them
remember him.
more of that traditional
He's
big
not
look.
bad. Yeah.
We'll see how good he can be. They also got another transfer from Tay Fields from Missouri Western. I think he's a pretty solid pickup. Kind of a guard, but averaged almost 10 rebounds, 4 assists,
How about this
stealing a
guy
block per
Dante
game.
Backus? You heard of Sneed State before?
I've heard of it, but it is a little bit lower level of
I
JUCO, so
mean, it's
we will
like
see. But yeah, Backus is a guy who averaged almost 23 points a game last year at Snead State. So we'll see. JUCO guys, especially lower level JUCO guys, are definitely a little bit of gambles.
is Susie back? It's like
Yes,
on
he
here they
is.
don't. Okay, that's a good guy to have back. Maybe I probably should have had them a little higher.
Yes, Susie and Howell both returners in kind of wing forward position. Howell more of a forward. So, but yeah.
I'm gonna
Um,
flip them and North Florida. I'm gonna have North Florida seventh, Northern Alabama sixth. I think
okay.
we'll flip that. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the backcourt's gonna be really fun. Lane and
Yeah.
Ortiz getting the gang back together again. Those two are gonna be fun. I guess it kind of depends more on the rest of the team how Williams is able to step up in his first year. Maybe they get something out of the JUCO big man Mitchell Chaffee they got in, who averaged almost 2 blocks a game. We'll see if any of these other freshmen can establish themselves. A lot of these teams are filled with freshmen at the bottom of the rotation that could not end up in the bottom of the rotation. So
Sure.
we will see. But yes, I think it's definitely like the Ortiz being back. Next up though is going to be Florida Gulf Coast, 14-8 on the season, 8-8 in conference play. I have the Eagles at number 6 this season.
I got them ninth. I'm not falling for it this year. Not doing
Having
it.
them 6 isn't falling for this isn't a
No, I
very
know.
good
I'm not mad at you
conference.
for putting them six. I've
But
just had the top three the last couple of years, and I've gotten sick.
yeah, they
I'm
have
not, I'm
talent
not doing it.
though.
I'm
They have
not doing it.
talent. They have talent though.
They do. But here's the thing, when they've had talented rosters, honestly, in a bad defensive conference, they may be the worst defensive team they're so bad on that end. The guards, like, oh my goodness. Kelman holds his own, of course, but he's the only guy who plays any defense. So he's like on an island out there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just been a
Barno
mission.
is a lot better defender than Thompson. Now, granted, he's
That's
also an
true.
offensive downgrade, but Barno
Thompson was
kind of
pretty
I like.
frustrating at times, though, too.
Yeah, I mean he was a really good offensive piece,
He
even though he definitely
was.
had his moments. But I don't think the defense will be that bad, honestly.
That's the thing. Now I'm looking at it like Muniz should help with that too.
Yes,
Making
Delaware
someone look
State
like a six
transfer,
six. Duax, I don't know. Rory McLean, they have pretty good size. They seem to
yes.
be wings.
Stewart, yeah, Stewart's more of a shooter coming from Rhode Island. Didn't play a lot there, but yes, no one is a guy who can shoot the ball from deep. Yeah, McLean more of a guard. Was a pretty efficient option at Columbia this year.
Yeah, I like that they're going away from the small backcourt a bit. That's good. Who's going to be their point guard though?
Barno,
Barno? Okay. Barno's a point. All
yes,
right. Yeah.
yep. Yes, it'll be him, and then
Stallion at the two.
Jalen Johnson. Solid year, good shooter, not a terrible defender himself either. And then
Yeah, he does what he can for his
yeah,
size.
let's see with Muniz,
BB
Duax.
Washington, I think. I think Blaze Vespi's better than we showed last year. He's someone that I
Probably.
liked out of high school. He was good 2 years ago, but I don't know where he fits in now.
What about Brandon Dwyer?
Oh, gosh.
You've
Wait,
seen that guy on TikTok, right?
I know I've heard of him. Oh gosh, yeah. No, I think I have.
He might like make the team like worse. Like he might like I might just like drop him a few spots just because he's on the team.
Negative aura. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
we'll see. Yeah, Gillette, someone who monitors a freshman as well. So yeah, definitely talent, but talent's never really been the issue. We'll see with Pat Chambers. I kind of forgot he was a coach here now, but
Yeah, it's dying. It's dying down for me. It is. It's sad. He's my guy,
he's
but
a yeah. I definitely see the vision now. Like I
the
see
vision's always
the
there.
vision.
The
But
vision is
yes,
always
as you
there.
mentioned, it's always there. It was there last year, didn't really do much, although Chase Johnson was out for most of the year. But still,
It's
yeah,
swerving on the road to glory, I guess. No, they always fall off course.
one could say that. But at least someone who I'll probably be interested in watching a little bit.
Yeah. They were, look, they were amazing for a couple games against FAU. They were really good. They looked insane
Yeah,
in the
Zach
game.
Anderson legacy
I
game.
know. Zach Anderson was so underrated. I love Zach Anderson.
Hmm. But yeah, next up, North Florida finished 9-7 in conference play, 16-16 on the season, but I have them ninth this season. There's no Chaslenear on the team
It's
anymore.
true. I got them seventh. I like their coach. I mean, I actually did have them sixth, but um, I moved them back. I swapped them with North Alabama, but
Yes.
I see enough to. Oh, someone's gonna have to step up. I like Amitri Moss. I think he's all right.
Yeah, he is coming back from injury. I guess we'll see how good he is to start the year. Maybe could be like a Zakai Ziegler where he was like kind of like
Hmm.
bad to start the year, but then ended up being really good in conference play. Nate Litteris, another double digit returner, solid guy that can stretch the floor a little at the
Liam Murphy is a
full.
guy they're gonna have to bank on a little bit. He's a Columbia transfer. He missed last year, but he's 6'7". He has good size. Someone who I think is pretty underrated is Nate Litteris. He's
Yes,
good.
he's from Nebraska, I think. Which
Interesting.
is like yeah, it's
Yeah, no, I
interesting
watched
how
him
the
last year, like when he had one of his big games, I think against Maine or something. I remember I watched that game randomly. Um, Josiah Miles is another interesting piece. Sophomore, not a great 3-point shooter, but he's pretty good on the glass, 5 and 4 in 18 minutes. And then
yes.
Vargo's my guy. I'm really
Yes.
banking on him to at least keep them out of the complete basement, I guess.
Yes. I think he's kind of who you do have to bank on if you're
Yeah.
really in on this team. Cameron Oriole is a guy that can maybe
Okay.
do decent. I know the Masters, they sent a few guys up to D1 this year. He
Interesting.
averaged
Yeah, I didn't know much about the Masters.
about 17 points per game this year. I'm not super familiar with NAI, but I know that's where believe that is
The
where
name.
Ty Harper is coming from. The guy who is at Youngstown now and played at like Louisiana and Eastern Washington previously. That's where he was last year. So I
Okay.
believe they were very successful NAI program. Again, got some freshmen sprinkled in the end of the roster. We'll see what the big man brings. They got Nestor Diacek, who didn't play a ton at Southern Utah this past season. We'll see. They have a 7 foot freshman. We'll see if Arden Begaj is good enough because yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the post Chaslenear era. But Chaslenear was only good like 1 year. Like he kind of was just another guy until
I feel
last year.
like
So
it's a
we'll see
system.
if
I really
we'll
feel
see
like
if
it's a
Driscoll has
system.
that magic touch
I think he
again.
does. I think he's got the Midas touch.
We'll see. We'll see if Vargo's that guy. Um, Next up though, Austin P 10-6 in conference play, 19-16 overall. I'm second this year.
This is so tough. I was like flipping a coin between who I put first in this conference. But for the regular season, I'm gonna go Austin P at 1.
Okay, I respect that.
Um, However, it would not surprise me if they choke in the conference tournament. Yeah, yeah, it would not surprise
Yeah, I
me. Not
mean, despite losing Desi Jones, DeMarcus Sharp, Jamonta Black, two or three very good players, I really like who they brought in.
Yeah, Corey Gibson is a master of the transfer portal.
Hmm.
He is he's 2 for 2. Um, Even Northwestern State, he was good with it there. The thing is their defense. It's bad. It's very bad. However, and that's the thing why I think they could choke in the conference tourneys if their shots are off. They're gonna have it's whoever gets one stop in the A Sun, right? I mean, is
Yeah.
Austin P gonna be able to be that team that gets the stop like they weren't able to against Stetson last year? Um, yeah, I think it could come down to that again, and I do worry about that. But like the roster itself is loaded. The guard room, I love Sabwit. He's very underrated, really
Yes,
good around the
really
rim.
broke out at the end of last year.
He did.
Really,
He
and
was
he
huge
he's
in that
old
conference
too.
tourney run.
He's old too, old and physical. A lot to like about him.
Mhm. He is
And
old and physical. However, he's not a rim protector. He does
not
not
necessarily,
opt to
no.
play the defensive end. But LJ Thomas, I actually think is a good defender. I've seen, flashes of him being good defensively. I've seen um, the guy from who was playing in Spain, Quan Lax. He looked good
Yes.
defensively on film. So like I'm thinking that there might be some improvement in the backcourt, at least defensively, and I think
Yes.
it's enough for them to get first.
Hansel Emmanuel, he's a good defender.
He
He only
is,
has one
though.
arm, but
He knows how to stay in
he's
front of people. That's something the rest of the team can't do.
he's like kind of a good glue guy piece. Like he
No,
is
he
actually
is.
pretty good.
He
Like he
he
was
got some
legitimately
minutes
good in
against
high
North
school.
Alabama last year, and that was a
Yeah.
competitive
I
game.
believe he started because they played a game the other night. Did not get around to watching it yet, but he did start
You're
in that
right. I
game.
remember he started one of those. You're right. Yeah.
And then yeah,
Hmm.
obviously yeah, lots to like with Quan Lax and LJ Thomas transfer duo there. Isaac Haney was a guy that was eligible later in the season due to the two-time transfer rule that got overturned.
Didn't
So
find his full rhythm,
he'll
really.
have
I
I
think he'll
mean
be
he was
better
still
this
pretty
year.
good though.
He was still good. Oh, I love
Definitely
Isaac Haney, but
eventually clicked. So yes. Brookshire, obviously, we mentioned earlier a little bit. I think he's a guy that could surprise some people, kind of been forgotten by now, but
hmm
could reemerge. They got two guys from Moberly area, pretty well pretty well regarded junior college, and Takeo Carpenter and Akili Evans, two guys who can definitely see the floor. Javar Daniel, that is someone who can protect the rim.
it's good.
Rising
Better than
sophomore,
Jordan
no.
Wilmore.
Yes, Jordan Wilmore no longer on the team. Jordan Wilmore is not good at basketball whatsoever. With all due respect to Mr. Wilmore, and they brought in a few D2 transfers as well. Darius Dawson from Missouri Southern and Mikael Burries from Lincoln Memorial. Two guys who could definitely be in the rotation, could definitely impact winning. So a lot to like here. I like the top end guys. I like the depth. Kind of like
How are the
everything about this
freshmen? I
team.
wonder how the freshmen are.
I guess we'll
Probably
see.
good.
But I don't think
Six, 8.
they need the freshmen to be good to really.
No,
I think they're a little less dependent on some freshmen than pretty
definitely
much every
have.
other team in
Yeah,
the conference.
they shouldn't be cracking the rotation.
We'll see. But yeah, very deep team. I like the top end guys. I
I
think
hope this is the year Gibson breaks through with Hansel, man. I thought it was going to be last year. They were my pick to do it last year. No one had them. They got there, and then just too much
almost,
Jalen Blackman.
almost. But yeah, they definitely have a solid chance this year. And
Yeah, for
I have
sure.
them second. Next up is going to be Stetson, as previously mentioned, the winners of the conference tournament last year, 11-5 in conference play, 22-13 overall. And I have the Hatters at seventh this year.
Yeah, I'm a bit out on them. I could have definitely had them lower. I have them fifth though. Um,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean,
there's some things to
definitely
like.
still some pieces here. Kind of banking on the 2D2 guys in Blaze Sagna and Josh
Yeah.
Massey, plus the top 65 junior college point guard Makai Ellison
I'm
averaged
banking in Jordan Wood to be a pretty good replacement for Gattaretzi, but Gattaretzi was good.
they're not even
They're not
comparable
comparable,
players.
I know, but
I don't
I
see
also
that.
think like a stretch five could work well on Donnie Jones's offense. Like I definitely feel like, they shoot a lot of threes, they play a lot of pick and pop. Like I feel like that can work. So we'll see. They have Abramo Conca, who was somebody that was
Yeah, he was
intriguing
pronounced
last year.
Concha, but
Concha,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
he's I don't know. I don't know if he's good or not. I think he
Right,
might
we'll
just
have to
like
see. I know I
I
think
think
we're
he
all
might just
in
like
on him
not be
last
good.
year. And then, we heard that he wasn't practicing well and he was out of the rotation from day one. So you
We'll
just
see
never
though.
know. Maybe he
Internationals are hit or
cracks it
miss.
now. Exactly. Yeah, just banking on those D2 guys, banking on Jordan Wood. And then the
Trey
rest of them.
Thompson's he's kind of
Not,
weird.
not yeah, he's not great.
I like him better than Wood, I think.
Yeah. He's more traditional. Wood's ceiling's a bit higher, but
But yeah.
we'll see. I definitely see a step back as both of us do. So
Yeah. We'll see what Gross can do. Maybe he takes a little more offensive role into his hands. Louis Tucker, another JUCO guy from Cook.
I
And
was kind of
yeah,
also thinking maybe Andrew Taylor was going to be in the equation too.
yeah,
So
that was something that I
that
was
actually would have really helped the off ball shooting, but yeah.
yes. Yeah, not as much here as last year, but it definitely had intriguing returns. Again, sprinkled with freshmen at the end of the rotation. I think Stefano Alesso might be a guy that
hmm
could
And he's a
maybe
good
step
coach.
up at the big
Johnny's
man.
definitely
And
good.
yeah, I mean, yes. We'll just see how the post Blackman Swenson era goes.
Mhm.
But next up, finishing second in the conference last year was Lipscomb, 11-5 conference play, 20-2 overall. I have them at number one this year.
Yeah, I got them too. We were drawing straws for sure. But there's a lot to like here. This is definitely the
Ognesovich,
most
we'll see what he looks like, but him being
right.
back
That's
is
not.
huge.
Oh, of course. I mean, he was so good 2 years ago. His efficiency, he's good from the mid range too. Just really a really high level player. I thought, maybe losing Darren Boyd would hurt, but they seem to be fine. I actually might like them without him now a little bit.
Well, I don't know if that's a fair assessment, but I think
Maybe.
Will Pruitt is really good though.
He
Um,
is. I think instead of Boyd's creation, though, they just opted for more shooting, which could really work. Joe Anderson can really shoot it. Pruitt, Giassi Powell's a weird pickup. I don't really know
Yeah, we'll
why.
see. But I mean,
Right.
Lipscomb's system is designed for offense, so I definitely
Mhm.
think, even though he wasn't the most efficient player at Jacksonville,
Okay.
still a productive starter in the conference, and definitely not someone I'm selling stock in,
Okay.
per
Um,
se.
they have Dylan Faulkner back. Actually had a really good season. 6'9"
Yeah,
sophomore.
definitely another guy to
Kind of
monitor if
overlooked
we're
him.
talking breakout candidates.
Yeah.
More of a rim protector than Ognesovich, so
hmm
probably more to five in the system.
Then you got Boylan, another shooter. Grant
Yes.
Osman's been there a little while. Not great, but
Yes.
um,
I think yeah, I really think Boylan helps out the defense, so
hmm
we'll see I guess how much he's able to contribute, but Lipscomb not exactly a good defensive team
no,
last year,
it's
but
the style of the conference.
I think Boylan definitely helps him.
Oh, I agree. He's got great size. He's a good
I
defender.
think Faulkner maybe seeing more minutes also helps him as a good rim protector as he
Mhm.
is. They
I
brought
think
in
maybe we put Miles White to D2
Miles
for
White,
Rockhurst, which is a pretty good
solid.
D2, I think.
They're all right.
Charlie Williams,
Yeah,
another
I mean,
big.
solid to stretch five, stretch four. Um,
Rylan Hauk seems interesting. I don't know.
we'll
I don't know
see.
how
I
much he
mean,
played, but
didn't play a ton last year, but
here's the thing. I think Ross Candelino is a bit of a wild card. You don't really know. I don't
Wasn't
think
he
he's
was he
good.
a walk on at Wisconsin?
No, he's a
Or
DNP last year.
but was he like a walk on now?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Probably.
You have
But
to
he'll
look.
probably be
He
like
might
a
be.
shooter or something.
Yeah, it'll just
Um
be another
Probably just
shooter.
another Lipscomb guy. Yes, Lipscomb runs a very, very good offense, very fun offense. A lot to like. They make a lot of shots. They were 12th in 3-point percentage last year. They were 18th in 2-point percentage last year. Um, yeah, very fun. Not extremely physical, but we'll see. I think they definitely made some improvements around the edges to maybe make some of their really downsides less
I
huge, and
agree.
they
I
still
think this is
have
my
their
favorite Lipscomb
upsides.
team in a while because of that. I think the transfers are good, but Boylan and Faulkner playing more minutes could help the defense. So yeah, I mean, I actually was originally going to have them first, but I think they could definitely win the conference tournament. They'd probably be my pick. Honestly, they're safer than I think P personally, but we'll see.
Yes. Lenny Acuff, another pretty solid coach. Um,
Hmm.
at Lipscomb. But yeah, next up, moving to the last team in the conference, that is Eastern Kentucky. Won the regular season last year at 12-4, went 17-14 overall. But yeah, they I have the Colonels sitting at fourth this year.
Yep, same here. It's holding the
Yeah,
floors
I
up.
mean, I think it's a solid team. They were a little disappointing last year,
Yeah,
despite ending up winning the conference regular season. Obviously, they lost the conference tournament, but they were not the best team in the conference. I think Lipscomb was clearly the best team in the
yeah. They
conference last year,
EKU was
reflected by
bad in
Ken
non-con
Palm.
too. They were really
Yes, they
bad.
were bad. They lost like Prairie View A&M. They lost to UT Martin, which I guess UT Martin was kind of can beat anyone to an
When
extent
they're
because of
shooting
the
well.
system, but even then, they were definitely a little bit disappointing.
Hmm.
But they do they do have a little bit different of a look this year. Cozart's gone, Moreno's gone, Leland Walker's gone, Tayshawn Comer's gone. Those are guys that played a lot last year. Colin Cooper played a lot last year. He's gone as well. So definitely going with a little bit different look. But I think
Yeah.
A.W. Hamilton, another coach I like in the conference. So
For me, it's the front court. I don't see a lot I love there, but I know you're
yeah,
high on the one guy.
I'm high in Mayor Wool. I don't know about Cyril Martinov though. I'm
Yeah, I don't
He's a
know.
guy that never really lived up to his hype quite yet, and I don't
No.
know if he will. Yeah,
The backcourt I like Blanton, Crawford, and Kimball. It's a good backcourt.
yeah, for
I don't have a
sure.
problem with that.
I
It's
guess
just the front court.
we'll see with Crawford and Kimball, but definitely guys that you definitely guys that look good in paper. Yeah, at front court we'll see DJ Nussbaum from VMI. Probably not a super impactful guy. We got to play a few minutes inside. We'll see if Jens Paul from Florida
Yeah.
Southwestern State averaged 8 points, almost 2 blocks per game there. That could be a name to monitor. Maybe winds up seeing a solid amount of minutes to 5. But yeah, another team that could go a few different ways.
They could
Bit
finish
of
even lower, to be honest.
uncertainty, but
Um,
a lot of potential. I think I don't see them really cracking the top two, but
yeah, definitely not.
we'll see. And any more thoughts on the Cardinals?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, any more thoughts on the conference?
I think it'll be an improvement this year. I like the top
Yeah.
two, although the middle is really weak. That is the thing. I think the middle might have been a little bit better last year. Um,
Yeah.
that's what's going to weigh the conference down. Like EKU was not as good as Austin P and North Alabama last year. No way. EKU, I think, is definitely a little worse. Because they're the four, and Northern Alabama and P were the 4 and the 5 last year. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I think they're definitely a bit weaker at the four. And then you got teams like Stetson in the middle this year. It could be suspect in the middle. It could bring the
Yeah.
conference down. That's what I worry about really. The top two is great though. Um,
Yeah, still most likely going to be another good offensive conference. Going to be
yeah,
a lot of scoring in conference play. We'll see if any teams can shape up their defense a little bit. But
there seems to be a couple attempts too, but we'll see. Mostly from the
yeah, I mean,
top two.
I think Florida Gulf Coast have a solid defense. Maybe not
Okay.
as good as they should, but one of the better defensive teams last year, despite kind of like the personnel kind of made them have it. But I don't know. Pat Chambers is also a solid defensive coach at Penn State, so
Yeah, yeah. We get a lot more talent too, but
yeah, yeah. Jacksonville's going to be a good defensive squad, good relative to their counterparts. Lipscomb, I think, will get better. Not that they'll be good, but I don't
mm,
know. It's going to be another fun year. I think even though
for
the
sure.
ASUN was bad, it was fun because there was no defense played and there was a lot of shots being made.
No, for sure. I feel like it was Summit League with maybe more. I mean, with better guards, like top to bottom. Like there's just so many good guards in the ASUN. There was a couple in the Summit, but
Yeah,
um,
and less defense being played too.
probably, yeah. I don't know that I would agree.
Yes, but yeah, appreciate everyone that watched through the ASUN. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to leave a like, comment, turn on post notifications so you get notified for all these. Make sure to follow us on our other social media platforms on Instagram at Hoopscoop Media and on Twitter/X, same handle. And yeah, we will see you for the next conference preview.